saxophones, Bowie, Lynch, shit mirrors. Nine Inch Nails are back to finish off their EP trilogy with Bad Witch. Apart from that, they've said that this is an album and not an EP, even though it is clearly an EP. And I have actually heard from some sources that this is actually regarded as a standalone release and not part of the trilogy. So, I mean, but you know, it's definitely worth looking into anyway. I mean, welcome, fair viewer, to a very special episode of Rambling On, a fucked back edition. My old man grumbling will be tenfold today as I suffer from old man back. My entire back is fucked. I'm alright when I lay down. I thought I was alright when I was walking. I don't think that's the case. Don't know if there's a metaphor in there somewhere. I had this thing in my head about, you know, keeping on moving and, you know, that being good for you and shit. Momentum, like sharks and shit. How sitting down is shite. But it's not worked. I've not thought it through. I haven't thought it through. The show must go on. I have heard a couple of reports saying that this is now actually a standalone release and not part of the EP trilogy. I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. If it is the end of the trilogy, then it began in 2016 with not the actual events, which I thought was pretty goddamn good slabo music, and continued in 2017 with Ad Violent, which was again perfectly solid music. Which brings us to Bad Witch. Bad Witch! Bad Witch! Is there a bad witch? Which witch is bad? Which is bad? Which is bad? It's all bad. Is it bad? I don't know. My back, my shitty fucking back. Regardless of whether this is an EP or an album, it's 30 minutes at length, and I have to say, with all three releases, I've actually kind of enjoyed listening to the smaller format. It's actually been kind of much more digestible. If that's the way bands were decided to do that sort of thing in the future, I'd probably be all the way for that actually. An EP a year instead of an album every 2 or 3. I think that could work quite well. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I've got a bad back. Yeah, you know, I don't like to go on about it. I'm just not the sort of person who does that sort of thing. You won't hear me moaning. Now, much like the short EP length, let's get the fuck into this. Starting out with track 1, Shit Mirror. Is that a mirror for shit, or are you looking back at something which you perceive to be shit? And thus, I mean, that's quite self-derogatory, and, you know, I mean, you should love yourself more, really. This one starts out with a real punky vibe and had a real nice distorted bass line. Had a chorus in it that kind of reminded me a bit of Faith No More. I've got a bad back, and there was a very nice use of hand claps. I do enjoy me a nice hand clap in a song, I've got to say. Got a new face and it feels alright. Power and strength and appetite. I eat your loathing, hate and fear. Should probably stay away from here. Hey, look what's staring back at you. Caught reflecting in your eyes. Well, I'm becoming something new. It's getting hard to recognise. I don't know what sort of angle I was shooting at there due to my bad back. Couple of minutes into the song, there's a complete halt to the music. Almost I thought the track had ended, and then it broke into this real heavy percussion. New world, new times, mutation, feels alright. There's a real nice distorted punky guitar riff as well that joins in on the tail end of the song. Really nice start, really enjoyed this. Don't let them see you in pain, Ben. Just keep it to yourself, Ben. They need not know of my bad back. Ahead of Ourselves is up next. Trent's vocals are barely legible at first as they're buried beneath some real heavy distortion on his voice. Did you ever get that feeling, man? I can't seem to shake by. Oh, not quite as clever as we think we are, knuckle drugging. Fuck's sake. Did you ever get that feeling? I can't seem to shake. Not quite as clever as we think we are, knuckle dragging animal. When we could have done anything, we wound up building this. We deserve with illusions of enlightenment with our snouts in the dirt. I'm not sure if I've said that right. I think my notes are wrong. How ironic is vocals are barely legible and so are my notes. Oh, my back. This bit's right though, I know that. Obsolete, insignificant, antiquated, irrelevant, celebration of ignorance. Why try change when you know you can't? And then we got ahead of ourselves, repeated, etc, etc, my back. Old man back, this silly twat is suffering from old man back. Next up we have Play the Goddamn Part, which is an instrumental, along with some heavy percussion and the usual sort of industrial tinge that we get to it. We've also got the introduction of some saxophone in here. I think part of the inspiration for this particular set of songs was Trent he used to play saxophone, or he has played on and off for 20 years, and he's kind of realised that he's nowhere near as good as he should be, or that you know, he doesn't practice anywhere near enough, so he wrote some stuff with saxophone, which is also going to show up later. This has kind of a real jazz vibe to it. This whole album, EP, has a very strong connection to the work he did with David Lynch and with David Bowie. He worked with David Lynch for the Lost Highway soundtrack, and he also did some stuff with David Bowie. His vocals definitely sound very David Bowie. Why I'm bringing up the vocals on the instrumental bit, I don't know, but I guess that's just why it fucking worked out. You know, when you got a bad back, it's hard to concentrate. Another solid piece of music, or music, indeed. Change arms due to my back and all. Next up we have God Break Down the Door, and this is pretty much the only single that was released from this particular set of songs, and the saxophone is very prevalent on this song indeed. It's a real frantic drum line on this one, again with this saxophone, gives it a real strong jazz feel. I've heard a few people saying they had issues with this song. I thought it was a pretty good song. God Break Down the Door, God Break Down the Door. I could have just said that once. You won't find the answers here, not the ones you're looking for. God break down the door, everything all at once. There aren't any answers here. No, not anymore. Those were some lyrics. And then we get a repeat of remove the pain and push it back in. Repeated over and over till close. Bad back, bad back, bad back, bad back, bad back, bad back. Next up we have I'm Not From This World. This is another instrumental. Not only does this have a very strong David Lynch vibe, I could quite easily see this in a David Lynch film. It has a real haunting, lurking, sinister vibe that sort of, you know, gives you this impression of something really wrong about to happen, or something really nasty about to enter the picture. There's also a very strong possibility that that could just be my brain. I actually really enjoyed this one. That's not good, is it? Yeah. And finally we have Over and Out. One thing I forgot to mention with the previous song was actually a little more subdued, a little more laid back than the previous four, not in terms of energy or sinister vibes type way, just a little bit less going on, not so frantic in terms of the instrumentation. And this one continues that, a little bit more laid back. Very 80s feel to the drums and to the bass. I do enjoy a nice bass line. I am a child of the 80s after all. More like the 70s, you old twat. I've got to stop speaking to myself like this. Trent really sounds like Bowie on this one. There's a very crooner sort of vibe to his delivery, his vocal delivery on this one, I thought. Time is running out. I don't know what I'm waiting. I'm in bitey town, aren't I? I've already got a bad back. I don't need bites. Fuck you, you fucking cocksucker. I'm going back this way. How about that? That's what I'm doing. It's just what I'm doing. I don't need to go that way. I've done this route about the last 3 weeks in a row, and every time I've gotten bitten the fuck at that point. So learn. Just learn, Ben. Time is running out. I don't know what I'm waiting for. I think this keeps happening over and over again. I feel like I've been here before over and over again. Am I remembering you correctly? Over and over again. I've always been 10 years ahead of you. Over and over again. Well, I can see that over, but I don't see that out. Another really solid song, and I'd give this a 9 out of 10. I'm sure a lot of you are getting bored of my predominantly positive sort of views on music, but it's just the way I feel about it. I don't really regard myself as a critic at all. I'm more of a musical enthusiast. A music enthusiast. I don't like shit like Annie and that. That's crap. I thoroughly enjoyed this, as I did the previous 2 EPs. So yeah, give it a go. It's only 30 minutes long. It took me a couple of listens to get into, but it's that much easier to digest, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, give it a go. So, what have I got coming up next? Well, my next video is going to be a bit of a channel update, because I've been getting quite a few questions coming in. Frequently asked questions, you may say. Maybe this could be my first FAQ. How about that? But yeah, the next episode you'll be seeing will be a channel update. But one thing I do want to do, actually fuck it. You'll find that out. You'll find that out in the channel update. Oh. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe, get notifications so you don't miss out on any injured back old man fucks walking around in fields with grey hair and moaning. Who wants to miss out on that? If you enjoyed it, like, comment, share, let other people know about the channel. It's growing steadily and I'm enjoying it. So I will see you in a couple of days for a channel update. Bye!